And today my adventure brings me to a very cool and crisp day in eastern North Carolina, here in the town of Plymouth. Welcome to Plymouth, North Carolina. And welcome to the channel. Hitchhiking Yeti here. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's gonna be a good one. We got plenty of sunshine. The air is a little crisp, a little cool, but it is December. We're gonna have a good time today because we're gonna go to some small towns here in eastern North Carolina, talk about them a little bit. I'm gonna show you the towns, kind of what they look like today. We're gonna go over some numbers that are attached to these towns. I'm feeling good. It's gonna be a good one. Appreciate you for hanging out with me today. Good to have you here. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I'm making my way down West Water Street here in the town of Plymouth. And looks like they're doing a little bit of work here. Pardon our mess, bears at work. As you can see, this old structure right here, this old building is not in the best shape, but maybe they're in the process of revitalizing this building. It's really awesome looking. It's just in pretty bad shape. So, as we walk down West Water Street, I kind of take a moment here and there to show you a little bit of the storefronts and stuff like that, and just talk about the town. So the town of Plymouth was founded in 1787. Plymouth was officially established as a riverport town and quickly became the county seat of Washington County. The name was inspired by Plymouth, Massachusetts. And you know what? I'm glad I just found that out, because I always wondered that when I would see Plymouth, North Carolina on a map. I was always wondering, like, you know, did that name actually come from the famous Plymouth, Massachusetts and Plymouth Rock? Okay, right here is an old car dealership. That ghost sign up there reads Manning Motor Company. It was actually built and established in the 1930s. Actually, 1938 is when this structure was built. And it was run by James Roy Manning and J.B. Willoughby. Interesting. And it was just a modern showroom for the Plymouth Motor Company here on Jefferson Street. And right across the street, I noticed they have this car mural. I don't know if this has any correlation with the Manning Motor Company or not, but it is like really, really close by. Check out this old boat. That is quite rustic. And it's actually resting right here along the Roanoke River here in Plymouth. And look at this. Now this is just a replica of the Roanoke River lighthouse that you can find in Edenton, North Carolina, which one of these days I'm going to make my way there. I think Edenton is a very beautiful town, and I want to go and see the real one. Now this is just a replica, but nonetheless, this is spectacular. This is so awesome to even see a replica. I can't imagine when I get to go see the actual Roanoke River lighthouse. But they have a sign out front here. Roanoke River Lighthouse, established by U.S. Lighthouse Service, 1866. Plymouth, North Carolina. Okay, so right here at the base of this lighthouse, this is a Freedom Seekers Monument. And this little plaque says, dedicated to the bravery of the enslaved people who came to the Plymouth waterfront seeking their freedom, and to their allies enslaved and free who at risk helped the freedom seekers find their way to a better life. Plymouth Water Street Landing Park, designated September 29, 2022 as a National Underground Railroad Network to Freedom Site by the National Park Service. This memorial, dedicated by the National Park Service, the Washington County Board of Commissioners, to the town of Plymouth, and the Washington County Waterways Commission. How cool. Is there anything over here? Nope, nothing on the back side of it, just on the front side. So that is really, really cool. Nice little touch of history. So since we're down here along the water in the Roanoke Lighthouse replica, which I think is just so awesome, let's talk a little bit about some of the early history of this town. So during the 1800s, Plymouth grew as a major shipping point for timber, lumber, cotton, tobacco, and peanuts, and also fish and seafood. Steamboats and barges turned the town into a trading hub, linking the interior of North Carolina to its coastal markets. So downtown Plymouth definitely has a very old school vibe to it. The architecture of the buildings. But check this out. Just notice this sign up here. It says, Plymouth Town Council Save the Bear logo. And I've been noticing there is some bear stuff kind of throughout the town. Some of the signs have bears on them. And the reason that is, fun fact, is Plymouth is the black bear capital of the world, supposedly. I don't know if that's self-proclaimed or what, but it's a thing. It's on the interwebs. So Plymouth hosts the North Carolina Black Bear Festival, celebrating some of the largest black bears ever recorded in the world. Bears in this region can exceed 700 pounds. That's a big bear. Matter of fact, right there is the Bearology Museum. That's the museum that I didn't ever think I would ever see. But now I can say, yes, I have seen the Bearology Museum. It's in Plymouth, North Carolina. That's why I travel. I gotta say, other than the occasional through traffic, not a lot of movement here. It's pretty desolate for the most part. So let's talk about population. The town of Plymouth has 3,432 souls living here, with a median age of 43.1 years. Okay, so this little area that I'm in right now, this is a pretty cool place. This is called Brick House Landing. And they have a little plaque up here. Brick House Landing, circa 1711, owned by Arthur Rhodes. From this plantation, he sectioned off 100 acres into what is now the town of Plymouth, circa 1790. So let's walk over here and see what there is to see in this little landing area. Looks like we have some benches, some places to sit. Yeah, I got a few benches down here. Little bench over here with a table, a nice shade tree, because you know in the warmer months here, this would be a very nice place to just come and watch some boats go by. Nice little area. Look at that cute little houseboat right there. Oh, that's rad. And check out this wood carving of this bear. But that is a popular photo opportunity at the Bear Festival here in Plymouth. Okay, so next up, let's look at demographics. White is 26.40%. Black is 72.76%. American Indian, 0.09%. And other race is 0.76%. And check out that sign right there. Plymouth, Stella's Cafe. I love that. It says time to eat. That is pretty awesome, and that is right next to the municipal building here in Plymouth, the town hall. And now I want to kind of get into some more numbers as we walk a little bit further down this sidewalk here in town and talk about the income. So income per capita here in Plymouth is $20,111, which is below North Carolina at $26,779 and the national at $29,829. And then the median household income is $17,594. That's pretty low, folks. You can see how far that is below the average of North Carolina at 48,256 and the national at 55,322. And then the next thing we're going to get into, this is a big one, the poverty rate. Poverty rate for the town of Plymouth is a whopping 50.8%. And you just see how that compares to North Carolina at 16.8 and the national average at 15.1. That is a pretty astronomical number, 50.8% poverty level. Okay, I made my way down here to the Plymouth Police Department. So I guess this is just as good a time as any to talk about crime. And it's definitely a concern. Crime here in town is rated at a 5,364 out of 100K, or 5.3 out of 1,000 people will, be a part of a crime, which is well above the national average in North Carolina. You can see North Carolina is a 2,344 and Nashville is 2,119. Pretty high. Violent crime is a 1.8 out of 1,000. And if you look at the rest of the numbers over there of North Carolina national, that 1.8 is way higher than North Carolina and the national average. So crime is definitely somewhat of an issue here in the town of Plymouth. So another way to look at crime numbers that might be a little bit easier to understand is percentages. So total crime is 153% above the national average. And then violent crimes are 418% above the national average. And then lastly, property crime is 99% above the national average. So yeah, they definitely have a little bit of a crime issue in Plymouth, North Carolina. All right, and right here is the replica of the CSS Albemarle. The famous ironclad was destroyed by Union forces. They used what they call a spar torpedo, which is basically an underwater bomb, to blow a hole in it while it was docked in the river. The wreck is still beneath the Roanoke River to this very day. So now they just built this replica where you can kind of see what it looked like. Much smaller version of it. I think I was in Kingston, North Carolina earlier this year, and they had an ironclad, a full-scale replica of an ironclad ship. I gotta say, as I stand here and I look at this beautiful Washington County Courthouse here in Plymouth, I'm still kind of awestruck by the high crime rate and the poverty level that plagues this little community. Okay, right there is the Washington County Courthouse, and right across the street is this awesome looking house. The woodwork up there, that is so cool. That really caught my eye. I looked at the craftsmanship of the wood on this home. Very beautiful. And from what I can tell, it looks like this town is kind of feast or famine with their homes, because you'll find some really nice homes, and then like right next to it, you'll find some that's like boarded up, no trespassing. I don't know if they lost a home to a bank or what happened. It's very bizarre. And this one here is just, looks like it's had a rough time. It needs a lot of TLC work. As you can see, some of the vines growing up on the side of the home. But that home there's got a lot of potential. If you've ever seen the movie The Burbs, remember that movie? You have some pretty cool homes in the neighborhood, right? Not too bad. And then all of a sudden you see that. And I hope the sun is not washing out the camera or the picture too much. But look at this yard. I mean, this place here still has a fence. It's not dilapidated yet. And there's no gate. But that is definitely what you call a pretty creepy and abandoned property. I mean, that is, wow. That's all I can say. Everything, and it's just right here on the main drag here in town. I mean, right across the road, you got Nationwide Insurance. You got other homes around. But this one, I mean, I bet in the summertime, you can't even see this house. You know, there's no way. And right here on the corner of West Main Street and Washington Street is an old service station. That's pretty cool. They used to do exhaust brakes, tune-ups, oil changes, complete auto repair. They even do rear end tune-ups and upgrades. Little hot rod shop right here in town. And right here above these bay doors, it says expert mechanic and expert exhaust. And check out this wall art, this mural right here. Kind of says it all about this community, right? Got to see right there is the replica of the Roanoke Lighthouse. And then they have a big old black bear right over here. Nice. I really like this blue on this building right here. I do. I don't know what it is about that blue. Some people call that sky blue, other people might call that Carolina blue, but still, nonetheless, it's pretty cool. And check out the name up there, because this is a bear community. This is the capital place, you know? Bear Town Cleaners. That is so cool. I had no idea that this area was known for their black bear as quite as much as I have read about today. Pretty cool. Wanted to walk down here and just take a moment and check out this mural here of the waterfront area here in the town of Plymouth. Very nice. Very, very nice. All right. I think that is going to wrap it up for Plymouth, North Carolina. So let's get back on the back roads, drive a little bit further east, and see what else we can find today. Plymouth is pretty cool. Kind of sad to see those crime numbers that high, and the poverty rate definitely shocked me a little bit. But a very nice community nonetheless. Had a great little visit today, really cool. All right, I made my way into the town of Columbia, and that place right there is pretty rough. Trying to drive around looking at some of these communities. You see a lot of places it looks like this, it looks like. Very abandoned homes. Some more homes. That place there is completely grown up. Wow. Columbia, North Carolina, there's definitely some big time overgrowth going on in some of these areas. Okay, and welcome to downtown Columbia, North Carolina. I thought we would just start out with this very beautiful wall mural right here. As we walk around town, go over some fun facts with you. Columbia, North Carolina is the gateway to the Alligator River National Wildlife Refuge. Columbia sits just minutes away from one of the largest wildlife refuges on the East Coast, home to black bears, red wolves, bobcats, and yes, lots of alligators. The area has one of the highest black bear populations in all of eastern North Carolina. All right, I made my way out here onto the waterfront, and the wind is really whipping. And right here on the waterfront, you will find the Town of Columbia Municipal Building, which makes me want to talk a little bit about some history that I just learned. That the town was originally called Elizabethtown. So before becoming Columbia in 1793, the town had an earlier name and was one of Terrell County's oldest river communities. And right here they have a nice spiffy Town of Columbia clock. It says established in 1793 right there on it, which makes me want to tell you a little bit about the population here in the area. It's not a really big town. Population is 678 folks. And the median age here in town is 40.5 years. So next up, let's look at the demographic breakdown. 46.4% white, 44.25% black, and 0.88% mixed race, and other is 8.41%. And that's a pretty cool ghost sign right here. Up there at the very top, I think that says Mitchell's Barbershop. And then right beneath it there, it might be Dr. Pepper sign, which is pretty cool because you rarely ever see a Dr. Pepper sign. Not that we're saying officially that was a Dr. Pepper sign. It may or may not be. But nonetheless, most of the time Coca-Cola, Pepsi, sometime Mountain Dew. That's a really awesome building right there across the way. Very cool little town. And yes, I bet you back in the day, before this was a School of Fine Craft gallery, this would have been a place where people came and got their hair trimmed up. It looks very much like an old school barbershop, doesn't it? Now look at this cute little location. This is cool. This is a little florist. Flowers and gifts. Got a little bit of Christmas decor out, and then right next to it you have this very vintage looking building. It's an antique shop, it looks like. Right across the way they got a cafe and gallery, which now looks like to be some kind of a Mexican grill. But this place here, I like that. Maggie Duke Antiques. What a great name for an antique shop. Maggie Duke. It's a good strong name, I like it. Got some wooden chests out front here. Look at that stuff. That'd be a good place to walk inside and take a little gander, check stuff out. But unfortunately, everything is closed this evening. I guess it's because I'm here after 3. Who knows? But there ain't a whole lot of movement at all in town today. Okay, so next up, let's look at income. So income per capita here in Columbia is $14,658, which comes in well below the average of North Carolina and the national averages. And then the median household income, look at that, $17,024. That is really, really low. It's not the lowest we've seen in the state. That's still champions at Scotland Neck, which I think it came in around $15,000. But here in Columbia, it's only $17,024. And North Carolina's average is at $48,256, and the national is at $55,322. Okay, next up, I want to look at poverty rate. The poverty rate here in Columbia is really, really high, 43.2%. The North Carolina poverty rate is 16.8%, and the national is 15.1%. So 43.2 is a very high number for this community. So next up, let's talk about crime. So the crime rate for the town of Columbia is 3,361 is the estimate per 100,000 people, or an easier way to look at that is 3.3 per 1,000, which is slightly above North Carolina and the national average. Not terrible, but not great neither. Oh, check this building out. This is pretty cool. It actually has a stamp at the top. It says S.M. and Martha Combs Building, 1932. And then right next door is an old theater. The Columbia Theater opened in 1939 as a classic small-town movie house designed in a modest Art Deco style typical of the time. It originally seated around 300 to 350 people. And like most small-town theaters of that era, it was a segregated theater. White people entered in the front and black people entered in the side door. It suffered from the rise of television and multiplexes in larger cities, and it closed in the mid-1980s. It was renovated and reopened in 2013 as a performing arts center. Yeah, this is pretty cool. So it was talking about this was a segregated theater. So when it said the white people entered in the front door and the black people was in the side door, I wonder if they was talking about like this here's where the white audience would go in, and then this side right over here, because the building, as far as I can tell, has no sides to it, and maybe this here is where the black audience would enter, and maybe this was their ticket booth right here. They had like a separate one. That's pretty wild. And they have some stuff here about the theater restoration. Yeah, I bet that's exactly what that meant. Because right here, even this old photo, or this drawing, I bet that's how it was laid out. I love the old school look of this downtown area. It's really awesome. The buildings, everything here just has a neat little vibe to it. Like this place here, Southern Dreams Gallery. It's really awesome. Got a place here, a barbecue location. Stick Burning Barbecue Company. I love it. They got brisket, smoked pulled pork, chicken Q as they call it, instead of barbecue, chicken Q. I like that. Ribs, smoked chicken salad. I'm getting kind of hungry just thinking about that. And I seen this old building. I just came over here just to check this place out. It used to be called the Bear's Lair, but whatever's going on there, it's been closed down, it looks like, for quite a while. Nothing really going on. Looks pretty abandoned, actually. Let's take a little peek in the window. You can see what I'm talking about. All that stuff in there, like cleaning products and chairs everywhere. Used to be some kind of maybe a restaurant or something, who knows. But all that being said, I think that is going to pretty much do it for me today here in Columbia, North Carolina. Pretty neat little town. I got to say, out of all the things I've seen today, the theater right there was really interesting. Very, very interesting. Never seen a theater laid out like that. That being said, I'm all done. Thank you so much. Until next time, my friends, I am the Hitchhiking Yeti, and I'll see you in my next adventure. Y'all stay safe, and I hope to see you all again soon. So long to Columbia, North Carolina. Really, really neat looking place.